Hello, everyone, and happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Parshat Chayei Sara is coming up. It starts off with the death of Sarah Imenu, of Sarah, our matriarch, and then the Shidduch story of Yitzchak. So Avram realizes that Yitzchak needs a Shidduch, so he figures out a Shidduch. He sends his slave Eliezer to go and find for his son a wife. Not from the daughters of the land, he's very adamant, but from his cousins, his distant cousins, yonder. There's an episode when Eliezer is finally coming back with Rivka, and he's bringing her. The text says, the Torah tells us that Yitzchak went out lasuach basadeh. It's a very strange verse. He went out to go converse in the field. Very strange. What is he conversing in the field? And the Torah Shbal Peh, the Midrashim teach us, as is completely understandable, since who would converse? Just why would you go to the field to converse? And with who? It doesn't say with whom is he conversing. He says this is lashon tefillah. This is the language of tefillah. This is what the Midrashim tells us. Rashi teaches us this, that to converse is tefillah. Now I want to tell you some things about tefillah. One, the development of the language of tefillah in the Torah. The original conjugation of the verb was in piel, by falel, lifalel. Lifalel has a connotation of hoping, wanting for. Hoping for. If you look in the verses, what it originally uses the word, Moshe Rabbeinu uses the word lefalel, filalti, lo filalt. Oh, and also Yosef uses Yosef uses the word filalta to Yaakov when he says, "You never filalled to see my face, and now you get to see the faces of your even grandchildren." And filal means to hope there. And then at some point the conjugation changes lehit palel to a hit pa'el conjugation, and most of the time, virtually all the time, the hit pa'el conjugation is reflexive. The verb is being done to oneself. Lehitrachetz is to wash yourself. Lirchotz, which is not hit pa'el conjugation, is to just wash. Lehitrachetz, when you change it to hit pa'el conjugation, is to do to yourself. So the big question on prayer is, why is the word for prayer that we use today, lehit palel, which eventually became the word for prayer, is reflexive? Aren't you praying to God? The answer is, on a deeper level, yes, you're praying to God, but on a deeper level, you are doing something to yourself. Prayer is an avodah shebalev, as the Chachamim teach us. It is a workout, a schwitzing, so to speak. You're sweating, you're working out of the soul. How do you send your soul to work out? You have to have regimented prayer. The last point that is very important to know about prayer is, and there's so much rabbinic literature written, and Talmudic literature written about prayer, whether or not it's counted as one of the 613 mitzvot. And the Rambam is almost by himself in arguing that it is one of the 613 mitzvot. And he has a big challenge before him, because many of the sources would imply that it's not one of the 613 mitzvot. The Shagas Aryeh, the great Shagas Aryeh, has a great analysis of the Rambam, and he tries to defend the Rambam, and he fails, actually. There is one version of a singular passage of Talmud, of Gemara, where the Shagas Aryeh didn't have access to that version, and maybe the Rambam did have access to the version, which might tip the scale in the Rambam's favor. But it's a huge and messy debate. But at the end, there's a philosophical point that stands through, and this is also quoted in Rabbeinu Bachya ibn Bakuda, which is the following philosophical point. If Hashem did not command us to pray as one of the 613 commandments, then one could easily make, from a philosophical vantage point, the argument that we should not pray at all. Because if Hashem is all-powerful, omnipotent, and omniscient, and all-knowing, then what is the point of prayer? How can I ask God for anything? How can I say, God, please, can you help it rain so my crops can grow? Doesn't Hashem know when it should rain, when it should not rain? If it's good for me, if it's not good for me, in the grand scheme of whatever the big plan is? And so therefore, the only argument, perhaps philosophically, that you can make to pray is because Hashem commanded you. There is another answer to pray that my father is very fond of, which I am also fond of, which is you should pray so that when you know why to pray, you will at least know how. Prayer is something you have to practice. It's like a muscle. It's like going to the gym. And that's what it is. It's avodah shebalev. And actually, the verse that the Rambam brings to say that prayer is one of the 613 mitzvot is exactly that verse. It's a very strange verse. It's ve'avadatem Hashem b'chol levavchem. You shall serve, work for God with all your hearts. And then he continues, Amru Chachamim, what did the sages teach us? Ezohi avodah shebalev. What is the service of the heart? Zo tefillah. That is tefillah. That is prayer. So Lasuach Basadeh, Yitzchak Avinu already starts to pray. Many thousands of years before, 2,000 years approximately, 2,500 years before Mount Sinai, Yitzchak Avinu already starts the mitzvah of prayer. Lasuach Basadeh, as it says, he went out into the field before he met his wife. He went out into the field, Lasuach Basadeh, to converse in the field. With whom is he conversing? He's conversing with God. He's conversing with himself. He's doing the mitzvah of prayer. We should always have a bracha from this week's parsha to invest more into prayer, regimented times, for two reasons. One, because Hashem commanded us to pray, and if Hashem did not command us to pray, perhaps we could make the philosophical argument we should not pray, or we should be forbidden to pray. And two, so that one day, when you know why to pray, you will know how. Have a good Shabbos. Bye.